great thing. Now go to the other page.
Can I just add, Campbell?
Yeah.
We've had several employees, several police officers participate in that program, live in those homes. It has been a wonderful.
That's the self-help?
Yep.
It's, they'll get grouped 7 to 9. I don't know how it works. 79 people. There's of course qualifications like any of that. Those 7 to 9, they have to put in so many hours a week. If there's 7 in the group, they literally build each other's homes. They have to put in so many hours a week, each one of them. They build the homes, and then all of the homes have to be finished before any of them move in. And then they're on about the 6th or 7th set of them. And all that property comes from the high school that's being developed. It's all part of that 300,000 that we've grown there. Okay, going then this the other sheet is through, of course, the projects we've done. We've got the Prestige. The Sellers Group is the name of the property management that's running that for us. This is Prestige 1. We loaned, there was money, we received $2 million plus once it's leased up and stabilized. So we put money into that as a construction type up front. When it leased up and stabilized, we got that $2 million back.
Now, who owns that then? We hire a manager.
Technically, we own it, don't we, Red?
So the affordable housing owns that facility?
There's a tax credit, so we probably won't totally own it till that's all paid. I think technically we own it.
Or is there
And we'll own
is
Prestige
there
too.
an initial investor that will end up owning it after the tax credit is,
I'd have to ask that question, but I don't think so. I think we technically own it.
Good question, though, Steve.
So who manages?
Sellers Group,
Oh, sorry.
it's a property management.
Okay.
Well, you bought the property outright.
We
All the
bought
water shares,
Then you back loan to construct it.
construction loan, we got,
You own it.
yeah. And we get money back from the income from above and beyond the rent. You know, they rent and they make it.
so is that tax exempt?
There may be some tax exempt because it's a federal program. I don't know if you remember when up at by Deer Mountain,
Todd Hollow.
that was built on a tax exempt program as well.
Yeah, but only a certain percentage of your taxes in. The rest is pays property taxes. But if it's owned by the Affordable Housing Board, you don't pay property tax.
That's a good question we can ask. We'll ask on
It's
that.
a good question, Steve. I can't answer that one.
It wasn't all tax credit.
I don't
We
know.
got some old Walker money to help cover the costs.
Yeah,
and we got
but
some other programs.
Still.
But the owner of record
Things probably
should be paying property tax, and if you're the owner of record, then it's a non-taxable property.
Well, we're a
Unless we look at-
we're no longer a 501c3.
Unless we look at it as a privilege use tax for the,
Good question, we'll ask. Help me. We'll
Yeah, I'll remember that, Steve. That's your expertise. I
And
can
report back. The next two projects on there, the Crown Home and the Reach. I might add on, to go back to the other, this $6,930,000 paid by developers. The majority of that was from county development. The Crown Home project and the Reach Home came as a result of 9 building lots that we got through Heber City in the Weaver Park subdivision. They, instead of fee and lieu, they submitted 9 lots. They turned each of those 9 lots over to the housing board. And we went with 2 different projects. Crown Home is an LITC program. Don't ask me what that stands for. It's some of you maybe know. It's compliance certified, and there are 6 homes that in Weaver Park under that. What that is, it's a credit to own project. Those people are in, and there's certain criteria they have to follow. After 15 years of being in there, when that runs its course, those people that are in that home can turn around and buy that home at today's price. And by today's price, the day they went in, the day the project was completed. So they pay on it those 15 years, and then they gain all that equity, because they can buy it all outright for what it was that they were paying. And the housing authority, at that point, then we get the value of the lots. So we're basically loaning the lots to them for those 15 years, and then they pay us for
The value of the lot, the day they went in.
Yeah, we got it appraised at that time, and it's the value of those lots at that time. Mountain, anyway, in Mountain, CHT. What's that CHT pay? Mountain Land, Mountain Land Community Housing Trust.
The majority of the money comes from the fee and lieu.
Yeah, they have 8 crown
That's,
properties, so
that's how we operate, is with the fee and lieu, and then we get some back.
they collect 420 a month. And the other 3 of those 9 lots that we got from Heber City on that was built by UHC. Those are the ones that Mr. Davis and I got in trouble on. From the neighborhood, because they had people there from the state prison all summer building their homes. But that's a 20-year. They pay for those homes over 20 years. And we get paid for the lot value at $60. And it's the Mountain Land Community Housing Trust, which is Scott Loomis's group manages those. Then we've got the self-help homes, which we've talked about. We've worked with Utah Housing Emergency Corporation. That's Brad Bishop's group out of Utah County. The Wasatch Commons, that's the ones across from the library. We paid some upfront money to help with that. We have 17 units that are designated that people can get in those 17 units for under 80% of the AMI, so 10% discount. So in other words, they're designated. So whenever one of those units comes available, and it's not designated these specific 17, there's just 17 units in the whole project. And when those become available, they'll contact Mr. Bradshaw and say, do you have any qualified applicants that will go into one of those, and they'll go in at that lower price. That's, of course, income qualifying, and they have to have referrals, monitoring agreement, and everything. It was one of those that we had to buy out, because the second wasn't very good, but we had to buy out because it was
Anyway, Ken, well, I think gives them an idea of what we do with affordable housing and stuff. But anyway, you know, mainly it's the fee and lieu that we use, and we use it in these different areas. We have a lot, if it comes up, we'll buy a lot, and then they'll build a home on it. And this is kind of stuff we lend the money out, but that's what we operate on, is the fee and lieu money.
So,
And if the developers now want to build on site, and that's a new thing, you know, come, if they want to do that, you know, with these hotels and things like that. That's why, we need to get a plan in place so that, we can get that taken care of.
so,
And I think Scott Lewis is a good thing. I mean, you know what, I'm sure he isn't doing this for nothing. He's getting paid somewhere.
Hit his salary.
You
I
know,
don't think anybody doesn't think he's
But I mean, he's getting
got
paid
a
for
good
somewhere.
integrity,
Right,
but if somehow, some way, there comes to be a conflict and the county has collected those fees and we're liable, we need to make sure we're protecting the county as well, that's all.
No, I
I don't think
understand.
anybody doesn't like him, I think we're trying to keep ourselves out of trouble.
I mean, I
That's
didn't
what
mean
we're
that. I
trying to
mean, he spends his time, he's got to get money somewhere.
Sure.
It's got to be coming in somewhere, and I haven't seen really where that comes from, to be truthful with you.
The fee and lieu, the fee and lieu payments, that's $6 million over the years from Rainy Homes, Victory Ranch, Fontaine. Some of those we get up front. Victory Ranch was probably the first one that we did that with, and county was moving this. And so I think Victory Ranch paid a certain amount up front, and then they took the rest of that fee and lieu charge, which at that time was $25,000 per year due. And as those lots sell, then they divided that additional amount across all their lots. And so each one of those lot owners, as they pay, and we get, every board meeting, we get reported on a couple of fee and lieu payments that they receive from Victory Ranch. It adds to that $6 million. Payments are received as the lots are sold. That's misspelling lots instead of lots. Fox Bay was another one. They were kind of an affordable housing development connected with the development across the lake. And so every month we get a couple payments. They're set up that they have to, if they sell above the cost that it was when they get in, then they got to pay the fee in lieu fee for that. And these numbers aren't accurate now. 42 released, 90 left. Those numbers are, I'm sure, different now. But as those, over time, all of the Fox Bay apartments possibly will sell out to private owners. They'll no longer be deed restricted. And if they sell above that certain amount, they have to pay the fee in lieu once they talk about it.
So as we look at the total amount, we have the fee in lieu money, that's the majority of what comes in. And we've seen that Heber City has participated in lots and lots.
That's about all they've ever done. I don't remember ever having any fee in lieu from Heber City Development.
Just the
I don't
lots.
think they've even got a plan.
There was another 2 or 3 lots.
Well,
in
I guess that's one of my concerns. If
That's
the only
true.
developers that are contributing this are those who choose to develop in the county, yet we're paying for affordable housing for everybody, cities, counties,
Midway's not
everybody.
involved in it either.
That we gotta take that into consideration as well.
So the money for the fee in lieu came from the county, the $7 million. Okay.
Well, not all, but the majority.
I mean,
And then Heber's done a couple of lots.
9 lots that we're aware of.
Well, there were
and
2
then there was
others
some
up
lots
off
down there, that's
Mill
how they brought forth the lots.
Let me ask this question, John. Is the county the only one required to have an affordable housing plan?
You see what I'm saying?
No, it's a requirement in the general plan, and that's for cities and counties.
So the city's got the same requirement to have an affordable housing plan.
Right.
So everybody's required then. I want to say something, you know, the Affordable Housing Board ought to be commended for the good job that you've done.
I think we've done a pretty good job.
There's a lot of good stuff on
Thank
it.
you very much for showing all of that, Kendall. That's, I mean, you've done a lot of things, you've purchased things. We just want to just review a few things at some point to make it fair, so everybody is participating. We understand the requirements, you know, what the mandate is. We ought to discuss that at some point. The fee in lieu, because up to this point, I would say 90%, if not more, has been coming from the fee in lieu from the county developers.
Yeah, because since I've been on there, I don't remember something coming from Heber.
Other than the lots.
Other than the lot, excuse me.
Well, we had those 2 lots.
And that
up on
seems
the road that we sold.
unequitable to me, just as a, why are the only people who are contributing to this developers in the county?
I've heard that the city is looking at doing something, they're waiting to see what we,
They're kind of shallow now.
because that mandate is something that's, I know that sounds like an excuse that never happens,
So let me
and I
go
hope it's
along-
not.
Let me go along with that real quick.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
Invite John to just say something about this, because in the 6 points of the mandate, I believe that's how Heber can help, is by, you know, zoning, stuff like that. Isn't that correct? So Heber can maybe participate through zoning. That's one option, correct? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't have the 6 options. Do you mind if I come up to the stand? and
Please do.
Talk if you have it.
I think we can all work together somehow, so it's just not off balance.
So there's the requirements for general plan, both for the counties and the cities, comes from the general plan requirements. And it lays out
From the state,
obligations.
right?
That's in
From
state
the
statute?
Right, that's in the state code, and it's been a hot topic lately. I don't watch the news much, but what I have seen has been articles talking about affordable housing, and the media that I've seen is definitely pushing for more of it. And the legislature is responding to some extent. So I expect over the coming years, we're going to see more and more changes in this area.
Well, there was an article this morning that says housing shortage issues are now pushing out to the small cities, but we've already seen that. So, yeah.
So the general plan requirements, it doesn't give an exclusive list of ways that you can address affordable housing, but it says we need to address it, and it lays 6 recommendations for how it could be handled. And when we put together our plan, I think that we were thinking of generally meeting that requirement, but I'm not sure we narrowed it down to specifically those ways that the legislature told us we had to, nor do I think the legislative ways are necessarily an exhaustive list. So I don't know when we initially adopted the Affordable Housing Code, but it's changed over the years. I understand it to some extent has come and gone, but I know over the past few years we've passed 2 pending ordinances on it, and both times, those are good for about 6 months and then they're lapsed. Both times they've lapsed. And we're trying to pin down what the best course forward is, what the needs are, and what the nexus is. Right now, the code allows for 4 options. There's a fee in lieu, and the way the code reads right now,
That's the county code, is that right?
that's the county code,
Not the
yeah,
state code.
not the state code.
Okay.
The way the county code reads is the fee in lieu can be set by the Affordable Housing Board. They've acted on that and have adopted a fairly large fee in lieu amount.
87,000, I think.
But we just made a recommendation back.
Made a recommendation to you
But we
guys.
thought that's what ought to be adopted.
So it wasn't actually adopted. But
Well, I
that's,
don't think we have the authority to adopt.
We got the letter from the board saying this is what they recommend.
We recommended this to the
okay,
Based on the study.
that's an excellent clarification.
And that was based on the study. Now, that doesn't mean that they've implemented it. That means that that's what they recommend we implement.
We have no way to implement it.
Because
It's implemented by the different jurisdictions.
Sure.
Okay,
It's
so
only
that's
20
that's good to know. So
And so
with
the
that
old
in
one is
mind-
28, the new
8,000.
recommendation is this higher one.
Yeah.
I
So-
think we've come back, at least I don't want to speak for everybody, but a portion of this council has said, well, there's some things in the study that maybe didn't get taken.
Yes.
We don't know that we want to go clear to the 87. We think maybe 28 or whatever it is might be low. I still want to go through the requirements again and make sure we're doing the right thing. And I don't want the Beaver County the only one participating. I don't think that's right either. That's me personally, and I don't know that every bit of it is on the development. And that's what we've been doing.
Let's take a figure here real quick. We have that developer here for the 2,046 ERUs. Based on the recommendation that they're giving us, they want to raise it 16.5%. Instead of having 10%, it'd be 16.5, which would be 337 units on their 2,046. Now times that by 87,000, you come up with $29 million that one developer that was just sitting here would have to pay into the affordable housing.
Right.
Or you can build it on site, too.
Sure.
Well, and also remember, we're talking about a graduated scale, and that's what the Nexus study is going to help us with. In other words, there's a builder that's building homes for people to live in. Do they have the same impact as a hotel that's hiring 100 and whatever employees? And so the 87,000 might not be that development. It might be something significantly different. Remember, we talked about a scale, and that's what we got to settle on.
But the recommendation, I'm just going by the recommendation that came from the housing board, that's the math that would work out in that one. Doug, you had a clarification.
Well, it wasn't that they were recommending 16%, they were saying that the study would allow as much as 16%.
No, it specifically said, we recommend this is the new fee in lieu of.
The housing authority?
The housing authority sent me as the chairman of the letter.
Okay.
We're talking 2 different things. We're talking
Yeah.
about the percentage requirement.
They sent me a letter saying, we recommend this amount as the new fee in lieu of.
Loomis was just saying the study would support up to 16%. I didn't know.
I think I read it one night under board reports.
And that was submitted, that was without the Nexus study, based on
Right.
the impact.
Yeah, and that's when we said, hey, we're not going to do that until we understand the whole
It's
thing.
definitely got to be higher than 28,000. That's the bottom line. That's just too low.
Well, that's if we're going to take it all into consideration that the developer in Wasatch County pays for 100% of the affordable housing. Yes, it's too low. But let's take into consideration the 6 points that the mandate from the state says that we need to.
And the other people who aren't participating.
Like that,
And I'm-
exactly.
Your biggest density right now isn't coming from Wasatch County. It possibly could, but you've got lots more density coming from Heber City. who isn't participating in the
And
affordable
take into
housing,
consideration the second homes, that most of them are in the county.
that may not require the additional affordable housing.
So there's a lot of things to take into consideration.
There is. And
Well, but- and I'm
That's
gonna,
what you guys gotta take care of.
and I'm gonna contend that we've used some of those 6 points. I don't know if Heber City gave Weeder Park additional lots as a concession to provide those 9. I don't know whether they gave the one that's up on Mill Road that gave us 2 lots that we didn't build on, because the naming neighbors didn't want homes built by affordable housing that really were better than what they were having built. So we just sold the developer the lots. But we've used some of those others. I think in the county we've used some of those. A developer's been given additional density, which is one of those 6 you're talking about. They've been given additional density as a concession to providing the affordable housing. So we've used some of those 6 points, I think, over the years.
well, I don't doubt that we've used more, but by and large, the biggest utilized tool is the fee limit. But just
Because they all chose
from
that.
the county
That's how
developers
we've
who
been able to
choose
do
to
this.
develop in the county.
That's how we've been able to do it.
Was that annexation MOU or whatever we're trying to hold them to on the Heber annexation? Do they not have to do affordable housing if they annex all that North Village and Jordanelle?
They haven't done currently.
I think the
I know,
interlocal
but
had-
what is
So I
the
would assume it would be the
document?
same rules.
I think the interlocal had the affordable housing unit. I'm not sure about the MOU.
I think that's one of the reasons that they don't like the MOU. There are a lot of requirements that we have that they don't, that they may or may not want to participate in.
Can I bring up what I was going to bring up before?
I'm sorry, I should have got back.
No, that's fine. It's just I wanted to hear if we were going to discuss it anyway. There were a few things said that were all over the board about this whole discussion. So it's like trying to come back to what we're talking about here in different cases. My concern as a real estate broker, and there's 2 others in the room with me, is the market cycles. And I find it interesting that when we have a market crash in 2009, nobody's talking about this. That's when we should be buying up property. That's when we should be doing some of this stuff, when nobody else wants to buy it. And then we're panicked when the market is higher. And, you know, we can all say we go through cycles, 10-year cycles of the market. There's gonna be a cycle, and we never thought there would be in 2006 and 7, but there is gonna be a correction as well and a downturn at some point. And so,
You gotta have money to buy it though, and that's gotta come from somewhere.
well, this is what I'm trying to get to the point of, is when the market's higher, everybody's panicking and buying stuff. Well, there's other times of the market when we could be doubling our money. And so that's what I guess I'm a little frustrated with, is no long-term vision of when we're gonna purchase some of this land. When are we going to build some of this when the contractors have no work and they're looking for work and it's half the cost of construction? I mean, I think you need people in the real estate industry on this board and giving some input on the market cycles and when's a good time to be doing this investment. That is where you're going to you're going to leverage your money more. That's my first point.
They're sure welcome to apply when we have openings.
Well, I'm even just an advisory board to the affordable.
You know,
Well,
maybe some-
because I hate to see you paying top dollar for land right now, or whatever the case may be. But the other thing is, you're talking about conflict of interest, and Mr. Peterson brought it up directly, whether you're in conflict if you want to get into this business. But I have to bring up the point that I don't think you should be voting on affordable housing and whether they raise what the rate is, because you will personally benefit from that decision in the future as a developer. And so that's where I'm kind of saying, not just are you benefiting from it right this second if you vote on 85,000 or 28,000 or whatever the fee in lieu is going to be, but that's going to benefit you in the future, whatever decision is made by this board or what recommendations you give the board. So that's where I'm kind of saying it's not just the direct benefit now.
We've had that discussion in the conflicts of interest just a few weeks ago, and we talked about that, and our attorneys addressed that as well, so I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, that would mean nobody who's ever been in the land development business could ever be on the legislature, make any land use decision on this board.
No, that's not the same thing, because you're discussing a specific issue that he's going to have to pay in the future when he develops.
Develop in the future.
Right.
Well, no, but every land use decision that this board makes could be said about that very thing. If we make a density determination, if we make it for any development, if he then does the same type of development, then he can't do that, then he can't participate in that discussion either, if what you're saying is the case. That eliminates people from running for office that have anything to do with land use decisions in their personal life. And I don't agree. I mean, we have that.
Yeah, and that's a discussion to have.
This is a
I'm just
policy for
saying,
overall, if it
Yeah.
were pertaining to his specific development, yes, he's got to leave the room. And he has done.
Right, now John can-
right.
Sorry,
And-
I'm sorry.
No, and that's an attorney question. I'm not an attorney, but I'm just saying that's a little bit more of the direct benefit than I would think a general, I may buy property in the future. He knows he's going to have to pay affordable housing in the future no matter what, if he develops. So that's my 2 cents on the matter.
I think the question would come for that is if he's currently working on a project that has potential to pay long-term health or affordable health.
And I am.
If he's not, or if he has one that he knows is in.
I am, and one project was approved last week, and I'm paying the affordable housing fee.
The one you stepped out on?
Yeah, I think
I stepped out on that meeting, and it
Right.
was made without me here.
I'm just glad we're having this discussion too. I mean, I'm not saying I know
Yeah, there was.
100%,
When is the
but
Nexus study going to be done?
Well, I've got, I don't know whether it's the full one, I've got the one that they were
You paid
working
the fee in
on.
lieu, Mike, on your deal.
Mike?
Mr. Peter Davis, excuse me.
So, one of the, Spencer's gonna understand this a little bit.
So it must be to do with engineering.
One
Must
of
be
the tough
engineering.
things when you want to become an engineer is you have to take statistics classes. Did you enjoy yours? I didn't particularly enjoy mine, but it's something you have to do. But the one thing I did
enjoyed
learn,
graduate level statistics. Where do you want to?
that's right, you probably taught it, didn't you?
It was included.
Statistics are interesting because they can be manipulated, and we see that in politics a lot.
No.
You ask a question worded a certain way, and I see it every day. I mean, it comes up on the MSN thing, they'll have a poll, and they'll ask a question a certain way. And I'll look at that and I go, well, there's a lot of ways to answer that question, but they don't ask you those types of questions. I think we lose sight sometimes of what affordable housing we really want out of this. We're not just doing it because, I hope we're not just doing it because it's some requirement somewhere for some